Let's say if the bill was $1,000, he'll give $20 or $50.
From the legendary Michael Jordan, a certified billionaire who is so notoriously frugal, he's famous for leaving tips so small they've become the stuff of legend.
He doesn't use his cell phone off the boat if there's no Wi-Fi.
If there's no Wi-Fi,
No
he
data
does not
roaming
mess with data roaming.
To the one and only LeBron James, a man who flat out refuses to buy apps or even turn on his data roaming, despite having a personal fortune that could buy the entire app store. In this video, we are diving deep and breaking down the stories of 14 NBA legends, men who are worth millions, and in some cases, billions, yet who still live their lives like they're completely broke. We're kicking things off with a name you absolutely know, the king himself, LeBron James, who became the first active NBA player in history to officially achieve billionaire status. As of 2025, his net worth is estimated at a staggering $1.3 billion. And let's be clear how he got there. His career salary has soared past $500 million. He has a lifetime Nike contract worth over $1 billion, and that's not even counting his massive stake in Fenway Sports Group, his powerhouse company Spring Hill Entertainment, his savvy Blaze Pizza investments, and his extensive real estate holdings across Los Angeles, Akron, and Miami. Honestly, LeBron has built a financial empire that would make most Fortune 500 CEOs green with envy. And yet this is the very same man who has been playfully dubbed the cheapest guy in the NBA by his teammates, his closest friends, and even by the man himself. That famous label originated most prominently from his longtime friend and teammate, Dwyane Wade, who has playfully called LeBron the single cheapest player he'd ever known during countless interviews. LeBron's legendary thriftiness shows up in ways that are almost comical for a man of his wealth. He famously, and I mean famously, refuses to activate data roaming on his phone, especially when he's traveling internationally. He prefers to rely solely on whatever hotel Wi-Fi he can find, a habit he confirmed even in 2025 during a podcast appearance with Speedy Mormon. He doubled down, saying he's got Wi-Fi in the hotel, so that's all he needs.
I used to hang out with Michael Jordan, and I remember Michael Jordan wouldn't tip really well back in the day.
And believe me, it doesn't stop there. LeBron James doesn't buy apps. Period. He only downloads the free ones and completely avoids any and all in-app purchases. Think about that for a second. He also uses the free version of Pandora, forcing himself to sit through all the advertisements that interrupt his playlists, rather than simply upgrading to the premium version, which would cost him pocket change. This entire philosophy can be traced back to some crucial advice his uncle gave him early in his career. For every dollar he makes, he should spend 35 cents and invest the remaining 65 cents. That simple ratio has become the guiding principle for his entire financial life. This disciplined mindset stems directly from his humble upbringing in Akron, Ohio, where he grew up in poverty with his single mother. That experience forged a deeply ingrained, disciplined approach to money that persists even now that he's worth more than many small countries combined. As his teammate Austin Reeves noted in 2025, LeBron's frugality isn't about being stingy. It's a masterclass in financial acumen that is absolutely worth emulating. But just when you think you've heard the absolute peak of frugality, believe me, the bar gets raised even higher. Enter Michael Jordan.
I hung out with Michael Jordan for a long time back in the 90s.
So you say he was cheap when he was tipping, like what, 10%?
No, let's say if the bill was $1,000, he'll give $20 or $50.
If you think LeBron is the cheapest guy in the NBA, then Michael Jordan might just be the cheapest guy in the history of professional sports, period. We're talking about the man widely regarded as the greatest basketball player of all time, who now has a net worth of approximately $3.8 billion, making him the richest former athlete in the history of the world. Just to put that into perspective, his Air Jordan brand alone generates a mind-boggling $6.5 to $7 billion annually for Nike, and Jordan himself earns a 5% royalty on that, which works out to a cool $150 to $200 million dropping into his bank account every single year. But here's the crazy part. Ask anyone who knows him personally, and they will all tell you the exact same thing. Charles Barkley, one of his best friends and a fellow Hall of Famer, put it perfectly on Conan O'Brien's show when he said, "There's nobody cheaper than Michael Jordan." The tipping stories alone are absolutely legendary. According to multiple accounts, a waitress in Las Vegas once brought Jordan a drink, and he tipped her with a single $5 casino chip. The story goes that Wayne Gretzky, yes, the great one himself, was there and called him out, telling him it was a cheap move. So what was Jordan's response? He allegedly replaced the $5 chip with a $1 chip instead. The comedian T. Kirkland shared a story where he personally saw Jordan leave a measly $20 tip on a bill that was over $1. Barkley contrasted this directly with his own famously generous tipping habits, emphasizing that MJ simply never paid tips. It even extends to his personal property. When Nick Young, aka Swaggy P, accidentally broke a $20 lamp at Jordan's house, Jordan flat out refused to pay for it, reportedly calling him an expletive in the process.
Who are the cheapest guys that you've hung out with that we would know?
Well, there's nobody cheaper than Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan.
This deep-seated frugality extends far beyond just stiffing waitstaff on tips. During his time as the owner of the Charlotte Hornets, Jordan was widely accused of cheap management, turning the team into a perennial laughingstock by consistently skimping on acquiring top-tier talent. There's even a book on Tiger Woods that claims Jordan actually reinforced Woods' own notoriously stingy approach to money and how he treated his staff. But here's the thing you have to understand about MJ. His cheapness seems to stem directly from his legendary competitive nature. He appears to treat money just like points on a scoreboard, and with $3.8 billion in the bank, it's pretty hard to argue with the final results. And yet, Jordan wasn't the only legend from that era whose thriftiness became a core part of NBA folklore. Which brings us to Scottie Pippen. Speaking of cheap Bulls legends, Scottie Pippen has earned a nickname that has followed him for decades. No Tippin' Pippen. This Hall of Famer, who was absolutely instrumental in winning 6 NBA championships alongside Michael Jordan, has a net worth of approximately That number is surprisingly modest, especially when you consider that his career earnings exceeded $209 million from his NBA salaries alone, not to mention the tens of millions he made from endorsements. So, what happened? Well, Pippen's story is a classic cautionary tale. He lost an estimated $120 million of his career earnings through a devastating series of bad investments and gross financial mismanagement. His financial advisor, Robert Lunn, badly mismanaged his funds, leading to $20 million in losses before Lunn was finally convicted of fraud. Pippen also invested $27 million in ventures like a soybean farm in Arkansas and various real estate deals that went completely sour during the To make matters worse, a $4 million investment in a Gulfstream jet that never even materialized ended up leaving him an additional $5 million in debt. But even before all these massive financial setbacks, Pippen was already well known for his legendary frugality. Restaurant staff all over Chicago back in the 1990s are the ones who gave him the No Tippin' Pippen nickname for consistently stiffing servers on tips. And, as we mentioned, Charles Barkley publicly called both Pippen and Jordan the cheapest players in the NBA during that 2014 appearance on Conan O'Brien's show. This intense cheapness ties directly back to his upbringing. Scottie Pippen grew up in extreme poverty as the youngest of 12 children in Hamburg, Arkansas. His father worked tirelessly in a paper mill until he suffered a debilitating stroke that left him completely paralyzed. In another family tragedy, one of his older brothers was also paralyzed after a wrestling injury. These incredibly difficult, early struggles shaped a grounded perspective on life and money that has clearly never left him. In a viral social media post from 2024, Pippen shared his philosophy that a $30,000 watch tells the exact same time as a 31 and that true happiness comes from relationships, not from materialism. But the stories of frugal legends certainly don't stop with the Bulls dynasty, not by a long shot. Next up, Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan, famously known as the Big Fundamental, is widely regarded as one of the greatest power forwards in NBA history, and without a doubt, one of the most grounded superstars the league has ever seen. With a net worth of approximately $130 million, built from over $242 million in career earnings, Duncan's entire approach to life epitomizes humble living. He actually cooks his own meals. His favorites include ribs, steak, and chicken, without ever employing a personal chef, something unheard of for an athlete of his stature. He maintains a famously relaxed dress code that's heavily influenced by his Virgin Islands upbringing, consistently preferring casual attire over flashy designer labels. Perhaps the most telling anecdote of all came in 2016 shortly after he retired from his legendary 19-year career. Duncan was spotted plain as day, just waiting in line at an Old Navy. That's right, the budget clothing store, standing there like any other average shopper. However, Duncan's financial prudence was severely tested when his longtime financial advisor, Charles Banks I, defrauded him of over $20 to $25 million through a series of conflicted investments in hotels, wineries, and sports merchandising. Banks was indicted, pleaded guilty to wire fraud in 2017, and was ultimately sentenced to 4 years in prison. Duncan managed to recover $7.5 million in a 2018 settlement and simply described the whole ordeal as a lesson learned. Despite the massive loss, Duncan's overall conservative financial approach meant it didn't completely derail his retirement. He viewed it as not causing significant damage, given his lifetime of making smart, careful choices. His one major exception to frugality, car. Duncan owns about 9 different vehicles, a mix of classics and high-performance models. In 2011, during the NBA lockout, he even founded Blackjack Speed Shop in San Antonio, a customization garage named after his jersey number. But even this passion serves more as a smart investment and a form of stress release, rather than just lavish spending. And the next player on our list proves that these humble habits truly do span generations.
Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak, has one of the most inspiring rags-to-riches stories in the entire history of sports, and perhaps the most admirable frugal habits of any current superstar in the game today. Giannis, the 2-time MVP and 2021 NBA champion, boasts a net worth of approximately $94 million as of 2025. But according to his former teammate Jrue Holiday, Giannis is the cheapest guy I know. Holiday elaborated on this in 2024, saying, "Giannis has all that money, but he's still living like he doesn't have any money, and this makes perfect sense when you take a moment to understand Giannis's background. He was born to Nigerian immigrants in Athens, Greece, and grew up in extreme poverty in the Sepolia neighborhood. His family faced severe hardships and constant discrimination. Without legal work permits, his parents struggled endlessly to find stable jobs. To help out, Giannis and his brothers would sell watches, bags, and sunglasses on the streets just to make ends meet. He was actually stateless for the first 18 years of his life. These experiences fundamentally shaped his approach to money. Early in his NBA career, Giannis was living off just $190 per day from his $1.7 million rookie salary, sending every other penny back to his family in Greece. He completely avoided designer clothes, jewelry, flashy cars, and any luxury items whatsoever. Giannis himself has readily admitted his frugality, explaining, "I'm cheap for myself, but generous with family, giving them more than he gives himself." He's been spotted bargain shopping in New York City and has openly complained about how expensive the food is in LA, saying, "The city's just not for him." For Giannis, the ultimate luxury is still just remembering the tiny cramped apartment his family once shared in Greece, not some material excess. Still, there's another superstar whose simplicity became just as iconic. The greatest European player in the history of the NBA, Dirk Nowitzki, completely revolutionized the game with his signature one-legged fadeaway jumper. After an incredible 21 seasons, all spent exclusively with the Dallas Mavericks, and culminating in that legendary 2011 championship, Dirk retired with a net worth of approximately $140 million. But what truly defines Dirk isn't just the money, it's his remarkable, unwavering humility. Despite earning over $255 million in career salary, which made him one of the highest-paid players ever at the time of his retirement, Nowitzki has consistently turned down millions of dollars in endorsement deals just to maintain his privacy and a simple life. He's been known to carry his own equipment and his own meals, completely avoiding the kind of entourage that is so typical of modern superstars. Perhaps the most telling story of all involves air travel. As a 7-footer worth hundreds of millions of dollars, Dirk was spotted on multiple occasions flying in economy class, casually chatting with fans, offering them life advice, and happily posing for photos. His approachable and down-to-earth nature stands in stark contrast to the typical superstar experience. Dirk even started a tradition of giving handmade friendship bracelets to fans, fostering genuine human connections over flashy material displays. He actively resisted a lavish retirement tour in 2019, saying he preferred the quiet appreciation from his peers over all the fanfare. His Hall of Fame speech perfectly encapsulated his career, emphasizing gratitude, humor, and pure class,
as he credited teammates like Steve Nash and Jason Kidd while maintaining the profound modesty that defined his entire journey. As one tribute noted, Dirk proved that massive success doesn't require extravagance, just authenticity. But even that incredible level of humility pales in comparison to what comes next. Here we have what is perhaps the most striking example of an NBA legend living a truly frugal life. Hall of Famer Adrian Dantley. As one of the most efficient scorers in the history of the league, with a net worth of approximately $2.5 million, Dantley chose to work as a school crossing guard for over a decade after he retired from basketball. Yes, you read that correctly. A Hall of Famer, a two-time scoring champion, was working as a crossing guard at Eastern Middle School in Silver Spring, Maryland, earning just $14,000 annually. And the reason why is even more incredible. He did it for the free health insurance provided by Montgomery County, since neither the NBA nor its Players Association covers retirees' health benefits. Dantley found a practical, if unconventional, solution rather than paying for it out of his own pocket. This choice, despite his millionaire status, perfectly exemplified his lifelong, extreme frugality. Associates have noted that he simply refused to pay for the insurance himself, and that he also genuinely enjoyed the daily routine and the connection to his community. Dantley once famously stated, "I'm not famous, I'm a crossing guard," which perfectly reflects his grounded perspective on life. His frugality dates all the way back to his playing days, where he earned a reputation for being a penny pincher and for avoiding any and all unnecessary expenses. Carmelo Anthony once even called him one of the richest ex-players precisely because of his incredible savings habit. While Dantley always prioritizes practicality over luxury, the story of a Hall of Famer helping kids cross the street just for health insurance is the perfect encapsulation of NBA legends who truly live like they're poor. On the other end of the spectrum, however, lies a story where frugality didn't just save money, it built an entire empire. If you ever want definitive proof that frugality can lead directly to a massive fortune, you need to look no further than the story of Junior Bridgman. This former NBA sixth man, who never made more than $350,000 in a single NBA season, managed to build a business empire that was worth between $600 million and $1.4 billion at the time of his death in March 2025, at the age of 71. So how on earth did he do it? It all came down to disciplined frugality during his playing days, which allowed him to invest his savings wisely. Unlike so many of his peers who splurged on luxury items, Bridgman lived an incredibly frugal life, completely avoiding flashy cars, enormous mansions, and wild parties. This disciplined approach allowed him to save his money aggressively. And here's the truly amazing part: while he was still an active player in the NBA, Bridgman began working at a Wendy's restaurant during his off-seasons, just to learn the fast food industry from the ground up. We're talking about flipping burgers, mopping floors, and managing daily operations. This kind of hands-on approach was completely unheard of for a professional athlete. His very first investment, a Brooklyn Wendy's with his Bucks coach Paul Silas, actually failed, but Bridgman just doubled down on his education, continuing to work shifts to master the business. Starting with just one Milwaukee Wendy's, he began to expand aggressively. By the mid-2010s, his company owned over 500 franchises, including Wendy's, Chili's, Pizza Hut, and Fazoli's, spanning across 20 states. In 2016, he purchased Heartland Coca-Cola, nearly tripling its revenue to $1 billion He then bought Ebony and Jet magazines in 2020 and acquired a 10% stake in the Milwaukee Bucks in Magic Johnson himself called Bridgman the blueprint for athletes transitioning to business. His story is the ultimate proof that saving over spending is what creates true generational wealth, and he wasn't the only one who turned discipline into a business powerhouse. Jamal Mashburn earned over $75.6 million in NBA salary during his impressive 12-year career, but what's truly remarkable is what he managed to do with it. Rather than squandering his earnings like the estimated 60% of players who reportedly go broke within just 5 years of retirement, Mashburn adopted a deeply frugal lifestyle that set the foundation for a massive business empire, which is now worth approximately $1 billion. Through his company, Mashburn Sackett, he owns over 90 businesses, primarily located in Kentucky and the surrounding states. This impressive portfolio includes 38 Outback Steakhouse restaurants, 40 Papa John's pizza franchises, 3 Dunkin' Donuts locations, and multiple car dealerships. Mashburn has credited his immense success to consciously avoiding what he calls the rich and foolish lifestyle. He diligently studied business during his playing days, took specialized courses in franchising, and made sure to surround himself with reliable, trustworthy advisors. He has always emphasized living well below his means, committing to continuous learning and reinvesting his profits over spending on personal luxuries. His approach involves hands-on management and regular site visits, leveraging his NBA fame for partnerships without ever over-relying on it. Unlike so many former players who struggle financially after their careers end, Mashburn's post-career earnings have now exceeded $60 million from his business profits alone. As one of the NBA's most successful businessman athletes, Mashburn stands as undeniable proof that financial discipline during your peak earning years is what creates lasting wealth long afterward. But sometimes, that kind of financial discipline can lead to something far bigger than just personal wealth. The Admiral, David Robinson, the former Navy officer who turned into an NBA superstar, has a net worth of approximately $200 million. But what truly defines his legacy isn't the money, but his unwavering commitment to living modestly and giving back to his community. Robinson earned a massive $116.1 million in NBA salary over his career, but his approach to that wealth has always prioritized service over self. Way back in 1991, he established the David Robinson Foundation, dedicated to supporting education and youth programs. His flagship initiative, the Carver Academy, was founded in 2001 with his wife Valerie. It was created as a faith-based private school specifically for inner-city children. To get it off the ground, the Robinsons personally donated between $9 and $10 million to launch and sustain it. Robinson has spoken openly and frequently about rejecting greed and pride, drawing from his strong Christian faith to live a pure life amidst the many temptations of fame and fortune. After his retirement, he completely avoided idle luxury, instead diving headfirst into business and charity so as not to waste any time. His business ventures reflect these same core values. He co-founded Admiral Capital Group in 2007, a private equity firm that focuses on real estate and what are known as impact investments, projects that not only generate wealth, but also directly benefit underserved communities. Robinson has described how his NBA fame taught him gratitude, making him realize that material success alone doesn't bring fulfillment, which led him to focus his life on service. This powerful mindset has kept him incredibly grounded, with his investments tied directly to social good, ensuring his lifestyle remains unpretentious, despite his 9-figure fortune. And yet, there's another incredible example of someone who mastered money long before the checks ever got big. Grant Hill was supposed to be the next Michael Jordan, a player whose trajectory was tragically derailed by devastating injuries. But he completely rebuilt himself into one of the NBA's most successful businessmen, now with a net worth of approximately $200. What's truly remarkable is how he got there, through a disciplined approach to financial management that started from day one of his career. Hill famously chose to forgo traditional sports agents, who typically charge commissions up to 4%. Instead, he hired lawyers on an hourly basis to negotiate his contracts. He viewed athletes as the CEOs of our own companies, arguing that top executives use attorneys without ever paying them percentage-based fees. This single, savvy decision saved him millions of dollars over his career. The attorney Lon Babby handled his rookie 8-year $45 million deal with the Pistons, his 7-year $92.8 million sign-and-trade to the Magic, and all of his subsequent contracts, all for simple hourly rates, rather than a cut of the total. Hill's frugality was directly shaped by his upbringing. His mother, Janet Hill, who advised major figures like Charles Barkley on financial matters, once warned Barkley against financially supporting relatives and friends too excessively, as it creates dependency and ultimately ruins relationships. Hill himself has described being paranoid about money and about losing money, a fear shaped by observing the financial struggles of many retired athletes. Even after signing massive multi-million-dollar contracts, Hill maintained a no-frills lifestyle. He didn't go on wild shopping sprees and made it a point to study the business section of the newspaper every single day. Today, he's invested over $200 million in real estate projects, owns a part of the Atlanta Hawks, which was purchased for $8, $9, and $50 million, and is now valued at $1.6 billion, and is part of the group that recently acquired the Baltimore Orioles for $1. All of this was built on a solid foundation of careful spending and smart investing right from day one. Still, not everyone relied on massive contracts to build their wealth. Some simply saved every single dollar they touched. Andre Miller, known as the Professor, had an incredibly durable 17-year NBA career, marked by his high basketball IQ, his longevity, and nearly $100 million during career earnings. His net worth today sits somewhere between $40 and $70 million, and he managed to accumulate it through a truly legendary level of thriftiness. Miller's most famous habit was one he maintained throughout his entire career. He saved his per diem allowance by eating the free media dinners in the press rooms instead of ever spending his own money on meals. This incredible practice was observed as late as 2014 when he was with the Wizards, where a reporter spotted him casually grabbing salad and corn from the buffet while still in his full uniform right before a playoff game. He never hired a personal trainer or followed a strict diet, freely admitting to eating burgers, fries, and backyard barbecue. He even once overdosed on chocolate, an incident that required an emergency room visit, and then he played in the very next game. Miller's deep-seated frugality stemmed directly from his upbringing in Watts, Los Angeles, one of the city's most challenging and impoverished neighborhoods. Growing up with that kind of hardship taught him the profound value of saving every penny. The result of this lifelong habit, while many NBA players struggle financially after their careers are over, Miller retired comfortably and transitioned seamlessly into coaching. He now serves as the head coach of the Grand Rapids Gold, the G League affiliate of the Denver Nuggets, proving that financial discipline creates incredible options after your basketball career ends. And that exact mindset didn't just disappear with the next generation. Four-time NBA champion Draymond Green has a net worth of approximately $90 million, with career earnings already exceeding $200 million, but he still operates his life based on what he calls broke principles. These habits stem directly from his upbringing in Saginaw, Michigan, a tough, working-class city where he experienced significant financial hardships firsthand. Green has often reflected on basketball being a poor man's game, a potential escape from a life of poverty. His frugality is legendary among his peers. He has openly admitted to sharing Netflix passwords, getting free haircuts whenever possible, and deeply regretting a $21,000 nightclub splurge, which he calls his absolute worst financial mistake. In his rookie year after taxes, he had only about $400,000 left from his $850,000 salary. He realized in that moment that it wasn't nearly enough to last a lifetime, which prompted him to learn everything he could about investing. Green now makes it a point to warn young NBA players against the trap of chasing luxury early on, advising them to save that money until you truly know who you are. His ultimate goal is to become a billionaire by the age of 40, and he evaluates every single decision he makes through that specific lens. His early investment in Smile Direct Club yielded a massive 40x return when the company went public in Green surrounds himself with advisors who are experienced in billionaire-level finances, not just standard money management. He treats money like a scorecard and even competes with his teammates on making smart investments, bringing the exact same intensity he shows on the court to his financial game, in some of the most unexpected ways. The five-time All-Star and four-time NBA champion, Klay Thompson, has a net worth somewhere between $80 million and $140 million. But early in his career, his finances were managed in what has to be the most unusual way possible for a professional athlete. Believe it or not, Thompson's parents controlled his money so strictly that in 2013, after he was hit with a $35,000 league fine for a scuffle, his own father docked his allowance. Yes, you read that correctly. A star NBA player was on an allowance. At the time, Klay received just $300 a week in walking around money and paid $3,000 a month in rent, all of which was completely controlled by his parents to ensure he was saving his money. His father, Marshall Thompson, himself a former NBA champion with the Lakers, emphasized that this unique approach was meant to teach responsibility, noting that Klay didn't have any direct access to his actual earnings. This strange arrangement helped Klay avoid the huge bankruptcy risks seen with so many other young professional athletes. By 2014, he finally transitioned to a professional money manager, but that frugal mindset had already been permanently installed. In a 2019 interview, Thompson reflected on his single biggest rookie financial mistake, splurging on Rolex watches and a bunch of accessories for his Escalade. He came to realize that those material items didn't actually bring him any happiness, and he now advocates for much more mindful spending. Thompson still owns a pool table he bought with his first big paycheck, a constant reminder that experiences and memories matter far more than mere possessions. The kid who was once on an allowance as a professional NBA player is now worth over $100 million, proving that a little parental financial oversight can go a long way in creating lasting wealth. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to click on the cards playing on your screen right now to watch some similar content.